Okay, thought I'd do up this video for an internet friend of mine, Louise, I think it's pronounced. I hope I got that right. A friend of mine down that I've met through RC groups and here on YouTube. Uh, he was wanting me to send him some pictures on how I did my FPV setup for the Phantom, and I thought it was just easier just to make a video for it. It's that way I can make it easier to explain how I did some of it. There are so many different ways to hook up an FPV setup. It's what you really have to do is do some research on the internet, and RC groups is a good spot for that. So the a lot of the FPV setups are not set up to just plug and play. You may have to know which wires represent which signal as per audio and video and power and so forth. Luckily, when I ordered my cable for my GoPro, it did tell me on the website there. I'll also put the link down below in the description. What color wire represented what. In this case here, white was audio. I believe it was red was video and black was ground. I think again. Look at that. Look at that link, and it'll tell you right there on the link which each color was on that there. So let's take a look on the underside here. Well, first let's start with the gimbal. This is that PhantoMount gimbal. I know a lot of people have been eyeing and talking about the brushless system, which looks really nice, but of course I didn't know anything about that until after I got this gimbal. But it has worked fine for me. I'm still messing around with the gains. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to take a laptop out to the field with me to make adjustments, so I've been making adjustments here at home, and then I traveled a half hour out to our flying field and then do a test flight. So, but yesterday we did a flight. I got some video of my friend's Mustang flying by, and I did notice that I was still getting a lot of jello, and because we had a lot more light yesterday, it was actually a sunny day. So I have balanced Gwapner props. But the next step that I'm going to do is take apart my motors and balance those outer rotating hubs on those motors. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do that here for the next couple of months. I'm going out to sea. I go back to work. And I won't be back home on vacation until about the end of July. So I'm just going to set that off for doing the balancing of the motors for the time being, and we'll look at doing that when I get back home on vacation. So anyway, back to our gimbal. The gimbal that I had ordered was the shorter, not so wide version here. So there wasn't any room to put the plug in on the side of on the side of the GoPro and have it sitting back inside the gimbal there. So all I did really was took a piece of light plywood, cut a little section of it here off, and I just epoxied that to the gimbal. And if you do this mod, make sure to scuff up that carbon fiber bottom there before putting the glue on. You'll have a hard time getting that glue to stick if you don't. And then I just found a piece of kind of like a foam rubber I got out of a piece of packing box, and that was just the right size there. So I cut that and glued that in place as well. And all I did was glue the bottom of it on there. The Velcro strap comes across and holds that in place, and that's just a filler in order to put that camera forward a little bit and kind of take up some space when I go to Velcro it. So it gives it good firm support there. And that Velcro I just have running across in the bottom and just down on the, like so, and it works perfect. But we'll show you here. I'm going to set the camera down real quick and we'll plug this in and we'll show you how it sits in there. And that's how it sets. We got nice good clearance on that servo. And I made sure that I had enough play on the wire here so it doesn't bind up during operation. Also see that we have a lot of cable wrapped up in here. Eventually I'm going to go back and probably cut these shorter and put new ends on them and just really clean that up nice. I wanted to get this set up to where if I wanted to take it off in a hurry I can do it, which I can still do that. Just a couple of zip ties that need to be cut, a couple of screws, and this whole assembly will come off. Now off to how I have it set up down below here. Again, you see a lot of wires there. At some point or another I will clean that up, shorten those off. I just hate making the plugs is all. My transmitter, I just have that on here with some real good plastic Velcro. Let me get a piece of that out here. I'll show you what kind I like using. I think it grips a lot better than the normal Velcro. Got a big wad of it here, but the stuff that I used on my transmitter is this plastic stuff. I mean, you put two of these pieces together and it really grips in there. And you can use, you don't have a soft side, or so yeah, it just holds in there real nice. And then I use some epoxy on the glue side. I put some extra epoxy and glued that to the carbon fiber, so that holds really well. But the tricky part, and I don't know if we can get in there and see that or not. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. To setting up an FPV, again, is matching the plugs. Now this only had one little plug that went into that. Let me see if I can adjust this. Focusing here. No, come on, focus. Anyway, this only had one little plug, whereas the connector that came for the GoPro had the two black, looked like servo lead plugs. So I had to cut those and solder those into the plug that came with the transmitter. Again, matching audio, video, and the neutral and ground or power wires. So it's kind of hard to see in there. So again, once you get your transmitter, it should come with the instructions that state which color wire goes for which signal. And so if you get the connector for the GoPro and the connectors don't match for what you have on a transmitter, you may have to do some cutting, some soldering, and some heat shrink around that to get those to match. So that's one of the tricky parts about setting it up an FPV. Now you may notice this funny thing here. Once I'm using the same power that I'm getting from my servos for my transmitter. If you have a separate power supply for your transmitter, let's say you have a small LiPo battery that you've got attached that you're using strictly for your transmitter, which is a good idea. It will not affect your fly time that way. The way I have this set up is it's draining from my regular flight battery. But I would get some interference from the gimbal motors too. Every time the gimbal motors would move, I'd get some horizontal lines in my FPV display. In this case here, I'm using a set of goggles. And I'll show you those here also. So I got online and I found out how to make a filter. And I will see if I can find that YouTube video that I saw, and I'll put that in the link as well to direct you on how to do up this filter system. It takes a capacitor. I don't remember what the specifications are on the capacitor. Again, it'll be in that other video that I'll link to. And I can't, thyroid or toroid, I can't remember what they call that thing. And basically it's a core with just some wire wrapped around it there. And the video that I'll link to does a really good job explaining that. And then you put that in line with your power going to your transmitter, and that filters out a lot of that interference. Antennas. There's a whole wide range of antennas that can be used as well, depending on if you have an FP or a 5.8 gigahertz system or a 900 megahertz system. And there's a big lot of information as to how to point the antennas. There's a plethora, the word of the day, plethora of information out there on RC groups. So if you're looking at doing an FPV setup, yeah, I highly recommend spending an evening and doing some reading up there on RC groups and some of the FPV threads. And that's pretty much what I can think of that will help with setting up an FPV on your Phantom. What else? I think that's pretty much it with regards to the Phantom side. Now, let me get out my goggles and my receiver, and I will show you what I've got there. It's a bit outdated, really. I got a good deal at a local swap meet, but be right back with my receiver and goggles. Sorry about this, guys. I don't have too much time for editing and so forth, so this is pretty good, and this is going to be a rather raw video. And these are the goggles that I got. Basically, they're just a regular video goggles, not really meant specifically for FPV. They are can be hooked up into anything that uses the RCA jacks or the RC jacks, audio, video, so forth. I mean, I could plug this up into my VCR or DVD player or TV or whatever I want to, and be able to watch it through the goggles. Nice, again, they're a nice set of goggles. Like I said, I got a real good deal on this at a swap meet. So it was kind of mix and match. Eventually I would like to switch over to maybe getting a Fat Shark system and just having all the whole receiver and everything all in one unit. Here's my receiver. It's really meant for closed circuit TV. I can get various channels on there. This particular transmitter is set up for channel 2, but then I just plug in the goggles into the back there. I run this off of a 3-cell LiPo battery. That's the end has just been the end of the battery has just been soldered to fit this here. And again, I've been experimenting with different antennas. Right now, all I have really is this one here and a larger whip antenna that I've been throwing on and trying. And I put it on this tripod when I'm out at the field, so that way it's just sitting on the tripod next to me. I would like to go to right now I'm using a 900 megahertz system. I'm in the process of getting my ham radio license here in the States. I believe I have to have a technician's license for using ham radio signal. I've only used this a couple of times just as a test run. When I get back home on vacation, I'll be taking the test to get my technician license for using 900 megahertz system. So check with your local laws of whatever country that you're in. You may need to get some sort of license in order to run a 900 megahertz system. And I saw on the internet there that even on the 5.8 gigahertz systems, you might still need a ham radio license here in the States. And it's only $15. Take a 30-question test, and voila, you have a technician ham radio license. The other antenna I've been experimenting with that came with the kit was just this larger whip antenna. And I really haven't noticed too much of a difference between the two. I don't know if you have to use two big whip antennas. Again, there's a lot of information out there on the internet with what to do with FPV setups. But anyhow, this is what I have. And also the goggles came with this nice little shades here that go on there to block out the sun. And I really much rather not use these for my FPV flying the Phantom. Right now it's the only thing I have. I would, when I switch over to the 5.8 gigahertz system, I noticed on hobbyking.com there they have a nice little 5 or 7 inch monitor that has DVR built into it, and receivers all built into it, and just great size for plugging on or just mounting to my transmitter. I'd much rather fly the FPV on the Phantom that way, because you get into a tight spot and you're using goggles and you go to back up, you don't know what's behind you. So by having a little LCD screen, that way it makes it easier for me to watch the Phantom and then glance down to see what I'm getting in frame for my video and pictures. And the only reason I'd be switching over to a 5.8 gigahertz system is mainly for convenience. Most of the nice Fat Shark goggles and so forth are all 5.8 gigahertz systems. The 900 megahertz systems, I believe, travel farther than the 5.8, being a smaller frequency. It travels farther than the 5.8, which is a faster frequency. Don't quote me on that. Again, I'm still new to FPV, so if I got that wrong, please comment down below and let us know. Well, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to give a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe. I may not be putting many videos up in the next few months, but once I get back home on vacation, I plan on going up to Mount Rainier and getting some nice videos up there at Mount Rainier. And so if you subscribe, you will be sure to see those. And I plan on doing some other flight videos. I got that gripping up there. I'm going to do another video today on the results of my previous video of how I modified the ducted fan motor on that. And when I come back home on vacation, my plan is to fix that nose and show people how to do a foamy repair on something that looks like that. And we'll get that back together and up and flying again here by the end of the summer. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested. Thank you much.